All right, guys, I want to show you something pretty freaking cool, in my opinion. So this is my K24 EP3 Turbo Honda Civic. Mouthful, I know. And it makes like probably 350, 400 horsepower to the wheels. And it's got an open differential. I would love to have a limited slip differential, but for the time being, I don't have one. And I got a really cool trick right here to make this setup work a heck of a lot better. As far as traction goes, I mean, this has made a huge difference as far as how well this thing hooks up to the road. So the problem is the front tires break loose like crazy. And this thing has ABS sensors where I can measure the wheel speed and use some kind of traction control strategy on the Haltech. And the problem is that I just can't use the wheel speed sensors that this car is equipped with. They send the wrong kind of signal for what the Haltech needs. In other words, it's a VR style sensor, whereas we need a Hall effect sensor. Well, that's all well and good. Just throw a Hall effect sensor on there. Problem is, they don't really make a Hall effect sensor in the orientation that I need it to be to fit the factory ABS sensors. And also, if I go replacing that, it'll disable my factory ABS, which still works even because it's a separate system from the Haltech. So that still works. I really don't want to disable that. If I can keep ABS, I'd love to. So what would be really cool is if I can add an additional sensor to one of my non-driven wheels. I already have a vehicle speed sensor off the transmission, which takes both of my driven wheels, averages them out, and gives me the speed of that. Now I just need one, well, a sensor that my Haltech can read. Like I said, there's already ABS sensors there, but I need one that my Haltech can read. All right, this is the cool part. What I need is a signal off of something on this wheel that rotates. Now, the rotor rotates. So if I take any old Hall effect sensor, like a cam position sensor, like this ECU is already using, so I know that that's going to work just fine with it. Well, then I just need to create a tone wheel, so to speak. And in this case, I used my brake rotor, and then just fashion up a bracket to hold a Honda K-Series cam position sensor right up to the holes that I drilled in my brake rotor. So now it sees that there is, you know, ferrous metal going by it, and then boom, it sees a break in the ferrous metal. So every time one of these holes goes by it, it can measure that signal. Well, now I can go into the computer and calculate how many times that hole passing by the sensor equals 1 mile per hour. And then I can measure this difference in speed between my driven and non-driven wheels. And boom, traction control unlocked.